Hey everybody, and welcome to Speculation Station. I'm Joseph Thomas, here as always with my good buddy Eric Crittenden.
Clickety-clack, guess who's back?
Is that clickety-clacking like on a tracking?
As opposed to a kraken?
Oh yeah, the Kraken's released.
The krakens be whacking, then clicking and clacking.
If you want us to rap on your mixtape, just give us a call.
Yeah, Joe will do it for free.
Eric will not.
I will not do it, period.
Welcome to Speculation Station, a show where we take a game, be it a series or a single title, and turn it into the dreaded, the beautiful, the amazing video game movie.
And not only do we do just a video game movie, no. Our standards are slightly higher than that. We're going for a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes scoring, hypothetically. Not everyone loves it, not everyone hates it. We're going right down the middle. We're going for not necessarily memorable, but like when someone brings it up, you're like, yeah, I saw that. Like the Sonic movie.
Yeah.
Or Prince of Persia.
That was a sexy movie.
A very sexual movie, just full of sexual energy.
Well, today we're going to be talking about a very, very
sexual game.
Very sexual game. No, this is a game that I played for, I guess I would say eons, literally. Even though that's not literally the time spent.
I forgot you were 3 billion years old.
I'm a demon on a roller coaster. If you haven't guessed by my incoherent ramblings, today we're going to be talking about Rollercoaster Tycoon, and I'm putting that whole brand, we're wrapping up that whole brand and putting a bow on it. Because right now...
1, 2, 3, the other ones?
There's 1, 2, 3, World, there's all of the
World
spin-offs,
Domination.
There is the modded version, there is a bunch of them.
Rollercoaster Tycoon Switzerland, Rollercoaster Tycoon on Mars, Rollercoaster Tycoon in Shogun, Japan,
Rollercoaster Tycoon in my pants, which that one was the sexual game.
Look at these roller coasters. I mean, this is a super popular game, but why don't you just go ahead and kind of break it down for people who may not be familiar?
So anybody who doesn't know about Rollercoaster Tycoon, it is a game, as most games are in the Tycoon line. I don't think it's a branding, but it's basically a title that people have slapped onto anything at this point, where you run and operate a business of some kind. In this case, it is an amusement park. You get to put in, any kind of ride, mostly roller coasters, as the name would suggest. And you get to put in food stalls, and you get to put in all these other things, and you build this extravagant park, and you basically become, of course, a tycoon of it, and you make as much money as you can. Two. You could become 2 tycoons simultaneously.
I'm going to go ahead and we're going to throw a fun wrench into the Speculation Station formula because I don't want to go one of 2 routes where we have either an action park scenario, i.e. building a roller coaster theme park, nor do I want to particularly veer towards a we bought a zoo, i.e. They bought a zoo, but now it's a roller coaster park. That was pretty self-explanatory.
I like that idea.
I feel like we could do better. We made a movie out of Tetris and Space Invaders.
So you want to go the abstract route?
I want to go, not necessarily, I just don't want to go one of those 2 ways. I feel like we can go a different way.
I feel we've got several options on the table here.
Yeah.
One that's speaking to me. What if there is...
And I will.
If there is a roller coaster tycoon, there is one big man. There's one big roller coaster tycoon guy. And there's like a series of part of theme parks that are owned by this one entity, this one person. Obviously, their name is not going to be Rollercoaster Tycoon, but we could have that as a little fun reference where they call him the Rollercoaster Tycoon. Walt Disney. I would say we have this figure kind of as this ominous antagonist, and we have these because. You just got to have that flair with all these Netflix series that are doing it now. A group of kids that have to save the day.
Are we tapping into the 80s nostalgia scene?
I think that would be perfect, given that most people who play Rollercoaster Tycoon have a direct early 2000s and 90s kind of nostalgia built in.
Pull the 80s lever!
I have an afro now.
I have a cocaine addiction.
I believe it.
And I voted for Reagan.
Please tell me those two are mutually exclusive.
I'm just thinking of 80s stuff that wasn't Afro. Also, was it Afro 70s?
Yes, it was. You know I'm behind the times.
Okay, so where do we go with that?
Let's start with the idea again. Let's see if we can actually flesh it out.
Also, why is it 80s? Why are we doing 80s nostalgia? I know we just pulled the 80s lever, but I am confused.
Because I suggested that we do a group of kids going after, like Goonies, you know?
Yeah.
So we've got this entity of evil, and it's a group of kids going against it. You know, Sandlot. What other movies did that?
Stranger Things. The new Ghostbusters?
Did it do that?
I not the one that hasn't come out yet because of COVID.
Oh, yeah. They're ghosts now.
I'm just thinking of anything that Finn Wolfhard is in.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's definitely the feel we can go for.
We're casting him in it.
I think we should have a what do we name this person?
Rollercoaster Tycoon.
I think we should have this character represent a tycoon, you know, an individual who is well
a monocle
off,
and a mustache.
possibly a Mr. Monopoly Moneybags.
Yeah. We could do, you know how I like these postmodern approaches? We could have it be the tycoon is the player. Where he's like, I built this roller coaster tycoon from scratch with my two hands.
We could kind of have that. I think we could have that as kind of a background element. Like he whenever he is in the situation, he's very outlandishly talking about it. He's like, I raised the ground with my own bare hands, and I built these roller coasters track by track, you know. But
how gamey should we make it? Like, if we're making the tycoon the bad guy, should we have it like when we play and have him have created prisoners in one section of the park who are not paying the hamburger stand?
I love that. I think we could easily do something like that in reference, because we're not the only type of people who have done that.
Well, I'm just saying
that is something that fans of the game have done thousands of times over.
How related to the game is this going to be, other than the fact that it's a roller coaster park owned by a tycoon?
I think we can base it very loosely off of it. Once again, we're loosely basing it off of the idea and going kind of in a direction people wouldn't expect. So we're obviously going to have the theme park to play with. I think we could make the villain... This is almost going to sound weird. I almost want to make the villain somebody who has become evil over time, but maybe not by their own intentions. Like they've started to become senile.
No, not where I was going.
Okay, what were you going?
It's like a kind of Star Wars redemption story combined with Willy Wonka, where the park has made him evil.
Oh, okay.
And so redemption getting him away from the park. What if
the power that he has,
or in a more literal sense?
Oh, like the park is cursed.
Yeah, like, and what if?
And it needs a new
tycoon. We
tycoon.
could go really weird with it and like have like somebody must sit on the tycoon chair, and then you have our main character. She goes, "I'll take it. I'll make the sacrifice."
I like that idea a little bit. I like the concept of it's
definitely weird.
I like the concept of there being something that's cursed, something that is evil about the situation. So it's not necessarily the person, but I think it could even be to the extent of like when we showcase that. So in the beginning, we don't necessarily know that. But when we showcase that there's like this throne, you know, or there's like this office or something, right? And it could be like an office that you would see, like, you know, you'd expect to see a CEO's office where they've got the desk and the big window and the big chair. And then when the door to the office is shut, like all of these screens come down. And then on these screens, you could see like different things being built. And then it would like cut. And all of a sudden, these little fences, you know, little construction fences would come up. And then all of a sudden, this like park is building itself, you know?
Yeah.
Then we could make it a little more, we could reference the game there, but we could also make it a little more supernatural and say like, ooh, it's a scary, creepy park.
Well, we could imply that it's like using the Tycoon's energy.
Ooh.
Almost. Like he's sitting in the seat. And,
his creativity,
Right, it's like draining it from him. And, like, there's like cables coming up and like sticking in his arms and his legs and like literally draining the life out of him.
It's a little dark, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like it for the sole reason that we could also adapt that into he's getting older, so there needs to be a new Tycoon, or he wants to be freed because he's been doing this for so long. We could have it to where like there's parts of the park that have been basically damaged or cut off, or there's like little prison areas or something because the man has like he's being drained of all energy.
Yeah, and it's like the more like all he can do now is create, but like maintenance is not really even like on his mind because it's so gone.
This would be kind of a meta thing. We could even have like a thing where if the kids are going to find him, you know, or something, they go underground and there's like a whole nother theme park that was underground that got built on top of. And then you could find some people down there who are like, oh, you've come to save us.
I'm so very unhappy.
I have to go to the bathroom.
I've had to go to the bathroom for 15 years.
Looks at the wall. These map prices are perfect. I need to go home.
What if we make it, if we want to go like, I wouldn't say Lovecraftian, I'd say more goosebumpy.
Yeah.
Where it's like the park is alive and the park must be fed. And like no one knows what happens if the park isn't fed, but it must be fed.
Ooh, so there's like all this lore around it. I like that.
And like we could start it out where it's like, man, you know, they're at school or something and they're joking and said, man, that's rumor. That's not, you're telling tales out of school, in school. What? Peace out. And so on. I don't know if I would love making it a kid ensemble. I'd say more like young teenagers, like 15,
I think
16.
A diverse group.
Because here's why. I think they should be working at the park.
Okay, so ones that could more or less be a part of the legend, kind of. Not in the sense that they've actually done anything, but it's just kind of like they're there and they're like, you know, legend is, this is blah, 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 you know.
I'm going to dig deep in the reference bag here. Did you ever read the book series called Kingdom Keepers?
I did not. Sounds familiar, but I did not.
So basically the premise is somewhat similar. There's these 5 teenagers chosen to basically be like virtual holograms in Disney World. But at night, they are awoken. Their physical bodies are awoken in the park and like everything is alive. And it's also very scary. Like It's a Small World is full of like the little demons like singing the song over and over as like chopping people up and stuff like that.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's fun. But we could do something like that kind of where it's like, you know, they start noticing all these dark things are happening. It can be after dark, or it could just be like in abandoned sections of the park, stuff like that.
I think abandoned sections would be better. I think there'd be the implication, because that's something else that happens in Rollercoaster Tycoon. The park never closes. And that could be a staple in...
But it's also never night.
Well, we can make it night, and we can have some fun with that. But I think that would be kind of a staple is this park, nobody's really... Even no matter what rumors have come up, no matter what things have come up, this is like the main attraction. So the city is less likely to care because it looks innocent and it's kind of the biggest, like, attraction.
I like that. We can make it very enigmatic.
Right.
Where it's like
it never
no
closes,
one really knows how far out it goes or how deep and wide it is.
Oh, I like that too. It's like, this land, we could like if we put it in a realistic setting, we could say like, this land was bought, but no one knows how far it stretches, or where it.
I like it.
Yeah,
that's fun. So we have our main characters. You like them being like, what's the word? Workers.
I think there should be. I think it should be a diverse group. I think we should have at least 2 be workers, and there to be 2 teenage workers. One who is more believing, the lore and believing the mystery and the myth, and then another one who has completely dismissed it.
I don't know if I'd say believable. How about more like they're enchanted?
Okay, so like maybe they like the park a lot. That's why they went to work there. One of them, it's just a job. To the other one, it's like, man, I always dreamed of working at this park.
It's like how you have people who work at Disney World that's like, I believe in the magic. And then you have someone like me who's like, man, this is 9 to 5 and summer in Florida. This sucks.
Yeah.
I'm imagining a boy and a girl as these workers.
Yeah.
Should they be siblings?
I think we could do that. Do you think that would tug a string? That would be like a good little trope to throw in there?
I'm liking the idea of the brother-sister duo.
Okay.
Because otherwise I feel like we'd be obligated to almost make them fall in love.
Nah, no, I like brother and sister.
Yeah,
I think
just
that works a lot better.
The story we're setting up.
Yeah. I think the diverse group, there should be kids younger. I don't want to say there should be one older person, but I think there should be some younger, say like middle school aged kid.
We could go another route where it is more like they were all brought together at the same time, same place, as opposed to they all kind of know each other.
Okay.
Like, yeah, okay, well, all right.
Because I was going to say, if we do it one way where we say it's more of a small town in like the early 90s, so technology isn't that big, so there's still a lot of mystery around things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can just Google it and be like, oh, what's the secrets behind this? There's going to be a lot of playground talk. There's going to be a lot of rumors and everything.
And it's like the biggest thing in town, so everyone's talking about it. All the kids go there. Yeah. You propose to your gal there.
What if it was more like it's a small town, so it is a big attraction that brings in outside tourists, but the town is still not like bustling because of it.
It's it's like literally a tourist trap where like they don't export really anything. Like everyone's family is in some way connected to this park, be it, my dad's a janitor or my mom works at the burger stand. And it almost like 95% of the town is employed by this park.
I like that idea. It could make it seem, we could obviously have this connection where maybe there is an older person who used to work there and doesn't anymore. Kind of like the whole Grandpa George aspect, where there's somebody who's like, oh, I remember, when I worked there and I was younger and everything, and it was different. It's not like that now, and it could almost be, it's very, other people would receive it more just, oh, you old coot, times change, but he's seeing it as like, no, something's wrong,
Yeah, and maybe it takes whichever one of the siblings believes in the more magical world to kind of see it, to be like, something's off. You need that kind of emotional side, whereas the other sibling would be more pragmatic.
They're going to be kind of opposites in that regard, and not so much that they're going to be bickering or problematic to each other.
Like they get along.
But it's just kind of like, I think we can make, okay, obviously this is just me. I'd want to make the sister, sarcastic and kind of,
so she's the more pragmatic,
a little
of the
cynical,
two.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then or they could both be sisters or whatever.
Yeah, the other sibling.
Yeah,
it could be boy, girl, boy, girl, whatever.
Yeah, she could be.
I like the concept of boy, girl, just because that's that kind of diverse 80s, 90s imagery.
It hits that nostalgia bone. So the brother is more. He's a little more magical. Maybe he's a little younger.
Yeah.
So he believes in a more magical. We could even
it would be funny. Here's something that's kind of, it might be too much of a trope, but I like the idea.
What's that?
Male and female twins. I want to do that for one reason.
All right.
I want to do that because if we do that, we can have the joke of them being not at all like each other, even though they're like each other,
I mean, we can do it. I feel like the trope is a tiny bit overdone. But we could probably play into it if one of them sacrifices themselves at the end.
Yes, yeah. And we're not going to focus on that so much, but I think it's a good enough trope of the era that it kind of does help the nostalgia.
And it would make sense that, they're both like 16 working out in the park.
Yeah.
It's their after-school jobs. Anyway, let's get back to this ensemble cast you're envisioning.
Yes.
Do you think they should all know each other before the story starts or kind of meet as the story goes along?
There should probably be whatever the characters we want to follow most, and be it one single character or be it the brother and sister or one of the siblings. We need to pick which one we're going to be following the most.
I'd honestly say we could probably follow them equal, because I'm imagining a large portion of the movie will be spent at the park, like 80 to 85%.
I think we could have, during the beginning, I think there's going to be a bit of build up, because we're going to see the park in a very positive light, so we're not going to show off too much of it. We're going to see it as this whimsical place. We're going to see it as kind of these big set pieces, maybe while they're working there, or while they're at school talking to their other students, or while they're hanging out by, like what people used to do. Whenever school was out, they'd go to a soda shop or something.
They go smoke cigs out back.
Yeah.
Well, should they have... I'm trying to think, because I do like the idea of the ensemble cast. It's a classic idea. How big should it be? I say between 4 and 6.
I think we could go big. We could go 6.
Okay. Then I think it should be like, maybe they each have like crews, like here's one sibling's 2 friends, and then here's the other sibling's 2 friends. And then through some wacky thing at the park, they all get roped into each other's adventure.
And and I'm assuming we'd set them all up as friends beforehand through school and through other things. I think if we were to add one that becomes a friend, we could have that be the younger one.
Okay, sure.
Like maybe the one that's in middle school. Almost kind of. Let's see if we can go ahead and define some of these characters. We've got 6 slots. 2 of them will be filled up with brother and sister combo.
Twins. Let's call them Jill and Mikey.
Okay, Jill and Mikey.
Sure.
Jill is lost the magic, so to speak.
How about Mikey has a girlfriend who has a younger brother?
Okay,
so
that gives a
Mikey's
reason.
Too.
That gives a very good reason.
Yeah. So Mikey has his girlfriend, Patricia.
We'll do Patricia, and I'm terrible with names. I'm going to say Robert, because that's...
Robert, sure. And then I think you have...
They call him Bobby. They call him Little Bobby.
Bobby. And then you have Jill's crew. They're a little cooler,
Yeah.
You got Maisie and Nick.
Okay.
I don't know.
So who's Nick?
Nick's one of her friends. He's the bad boy. You gotta have a bad boy.
Or he thinks he's a bad boy.
He could be a little scaredy cat.
I think he could be. He's tough on the outside, soft on the inside.
And then you have Maisie, who is she's earthly.
Okay.
She's a little hippie.
Yeah, I don't think we should make her whole trope the hippie, but I think we should make her more of like, maybe she's the one who is more apt to push the idea that there is something supernatural.
Yeah, she's the bridge between Mikey and Jill's ideas.
Yeah.
So there's our diverse cast of all shapes, sizes, colors, names, genders, whatever. So here, all right, I have a kind of dumb way I think their paths should intersect. So Mikey and Jill are working at the park, right? And maybe their friends are there, and they're like, we're going to go ride on a ride. And then I think in classic Rollercoaster Tycoon fashion, it's a new roller coaster, Maybe they're the first ones to ride it. The track goes off, or the cart goes off the track.
Oh.
Flies off the track, explodes, they all die.
What?
No, I think something should go wrong, causing Jill and Mikey, both because they're worried and because they're employees of the park, to like go off the beaten path, so to speak, and kind of investigate and learn a bit more about the park. Like we need the catalyst.
What if we really want to go in heavy and we want to go ahead and set up these rumors, set up these, they're hearing about these rumors. Jill is dismissing them. Mikey is kind of, you never know kind of mindset. But then they unanimously say, kind of agree on, yeah, but nothing really bad ever happens at the park. Maybe while they're working, they see something bad happen. They actually see a roller coaster crash or something. But all of a sudden, before anything can happen, like, the park does something. The park, I wouldn't say like moves, but maybe like walls just come up out of nowhere or something, and it blocks off. And it's just like maintenance on the, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then they're like thinking, well, we just saw that. Like, what do we do? What do we say? And they like go up and they try to tell somebody, and they're like, oh, that thing gets scheduled maintenance this time every time. Nothing's wrong, And it's not so much that necessarily the other employees are evil or connected to the park. It's, of course, the
they're just
park
unassuming.
itself. Right, because nothing bad ever happens here.
I mean, should we literally take it in the direction where like a cart flies off the rails and crashes?
I think we could go. I think we could do that dark.
Yeah, because we're going. This is more of a little. It's a little darker of a film. You know, maybe dip into that. Because
we could have
PG-13 R rating.
We could have it where it's almost like they're running a stall or something, and manager guy comes up and says, "Oh, stop your yapping. You go clean that."
They could be in like the butt end of the park, like where there not really anyone is.
Right. So that would explain why this could get covered up, so easily, etc.
Right. And then what if like Mikey's really worried, or I guess they both would be worried. They're like, we got to go make sure no one needs our help. And like they go off the path into the woods and then the cart's gone. But like, it's very mysterious. They're like, what happened?
It's just gone. It's just, they wouldn't even see it. They wouldn't see anything, I think. Any point where they're in areas that are unseen, I want it to get really crazy with, like, the designs to where it's like, in Rollercoaster Tycoon, you unlock these themes that you can use. And it goes everything from dinosaurs to big steampunk gears to space aliens and all this. And I think we can get kind of that level where in the parts that are unseen, it's not like they're worn down animatronics. Like they're full-fledged, fully maintained things, but they're just closed off to the public. Yeah.
I like that. So I think instead of having like the literal like maintenance sign like it does in the game, I think you should have like a moderator, kind of like you mentioned, like someone come over as soon like on cue and be like, "All right, we're shutting it down. You grab a broom,"
I almost want the park to be separate from the employees, too.
Well, I'm implying the moderator is like an agent of the Tycoon, if not like a robot.
Okay, specifically one person. Gotcha.
Right, like it could be the same guy always popping up on cue. And it could be kind of creepy. I just don't want it to be so obtusely mysterious, if that makes sense. Or it's like, because I feel like, even as unassuming as the other employees are, magical walls coming up would be a little too much.
It would be too much too soon.
Yeah. Like later, once the Tycoon really, like they're really battling the Tycoon, absolutely. Weird stuff can start happening, like the ground, like, gets shot up. Like, hills appear out of nowhere, stuff like that.
Okay, so we have this moderator person who is an agent of the Tycoon, more or less an agent of the park, being as the Tycoon is...
I don't even think he necessarily has, like, agency of himself. Like, he's just literally, like, a messenger of the Tycoon.
Oh, what if he is... I'm not trying to go, like, Mouth of Sauron in here, but I
was kind of thinking Mouth of Sauron.
Yeah, what if he's more of just a extension of the park? So he can be very inhuman. We can almost even, if we wanted to, we could look at how the NPCs look in the game and try and design a person that looks like one of them.
Yeah, just like he looks like a person, but like in an uncanny kind of way. Like you just get uncomfortable looking at him. The attendees at the park never think twice, because they just like, oh, that's closed. I'll go to another ride.
Yeah.
As they do with the game, they spread off like ants. I think.
Okay. We've got the kids. They know each other. We see them at school. We learn that Mikey and Jill work at the amusement park.
Yeah.
I think their uncle should have, or uncle's too easy of a thing. What if their
teacher?
Yeah, somebody that they're close to had worked there before.
Okay. Do you think they know that at the beginning?
That individual worked there?
Yeah.
I think it could be, but it could also be, it's something that could be showcased. For example, let's say it is in school, and the group is talking, and they're like, oh, you got to go to your job, you got to go do this, and maybe the girl is like, I don't know why we even do it, and Mikey could even go as far to say, oh, because it's fun, it's a great time, and the teacher could butt in and could say, oh, yeah, remember when I worked there, And that would also establish how long it's been there.
I like that,
you know? And we could even do like a little thing where the teacher does a little spiel and is like, man, and it was there, and my father even worked there, and it just changed, and it's all the and it's very positive light.
It keeps growing.
It keeps growing.
Yeah, and then we established their relationships early on, and then they're working out at the park, and then I think this accident happens.
Yeah. I think we should introduce the manager before the accident happens. We introduce the manager.
The creepy manager?
Creepy manager. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As seen as kind of like that could be how maybe some of the rumors start to arise too, is it'd be like they're sitting there and creepy manager doesn't even really pay attention to them. Creepy manager just kind of like straight path walking, like literally NPC walking to some point. And as he goes by, they're like, oh my goodness, he's kind of weird. And that's when they start talking about the rumors, like, oh, did you hear? Like,
and you get, maybe Nick, the bad boy, like flicks a cigarette at him or something. He's like, look, you don't even notice. And I think we need to establish, like, like this is literally where everyone in the town goes, either to work or, you have the teens hanging out.
Yeah.
You have Patricia is riding rides with her brother. They're all there when this accident happens.
I think it should be to the extent where Mickey is the one who gets confronted and is told to, deal with it by this NPC man. It was like, oh, don't, just clean up, guard this, do this, go ahead, and the ride is being shut off. Make sure people get out, kind of thing. And he's like, but what about the people? And he's like, do not worry about them. It'll be fine. And he just smiles, just
like, apropos of nothing.
So Mikey goes to help with that. And then after that's done, he goes back and he tells everybody, he's like, okay, this, blah, 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 blah. And
well, you could also have it be where Jill, since Mikey has to go, like, tend to the gate, maybe her curiosity is piqued, and she
goes around.
As someone who's a little more cynical, not so swept up in the illusion, goes to investigate.
Oh, I like that.
And, like, she finds this, like you said, abandoned park. Not run down necessarily, but abandoned.
Right.
Covered in a thin layer of dust.
But I think it should still be very pristine and colorful.
Well, it's like it is in the games, where it's like still running, but it's like...
And it's vibrant, like
Yeah, but it's like dirty.
I like that. It can be dirty in the sense of, like, the path is not clean.
Like in the games, you need a janitor.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a janitor in the area, then the stuff gets dirty. So she finds this almost abandoned section of the park and no sign, and she's like, well, it should have happened right here, but there's nothing.
The one thing I dislike in movies that they do, both in thrillers and horror movies, is you have the non-believing character, right? The cynical one, the one who is not spiritual, or whatever. They encounter something. So when they come back to tell everybody, they just say, oh, yeah, sure, now you believe it, kind of thing. And it's like, wouldn't you actually want to turn around and be like, okay, if you saw it, we're going to believe you because you're the one that would have the least reason to lie about this.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly why I wanted to put Jill in there instead of Mikey.
Right.
Jill wouldn't believe Mikey.
So if Jill comes, Mikey can say, no, she's telling the truth. Like, let's deal with this.
I don't even think there would be a moment of doubt.
I like that.
Because Jill's so straightforward.
This is out of character
she would
for
never
her.
lie about this. Yeah.
I like that.
And they're like, well, should we go investigate? Maybe they see the manager off in the distance and they're like, no, we gotta wait. We should wait till after work.
Yeah, they have to get off their shift.
Right. But I don't, like you said, I don't think the park ever closes, but I do think it should change at night.
Okay.
I think it should be a little more of like a party,
I like that.
Yeah, just so there's a a very clear difference between like the daytime where it's very stereotypical amusement park and the nighttime where it's a little more adult.
Some of the rides, they shut down some of the rides at night for maintenance, but other than that, the park stays completely running. And you could see it turns the plaza's full of people, and it's more of
and they got a disco ball and everyone's dancing.
Which is funny because that'd be a reference to what Disney did.
Yeah, well, kind of. That's where the idea kind of came from.
They actually did a club. Yeah. Anyway.
So it's like, they start serving alcohol and stuff like that. Man, I want to go to this park. Sounds like a good time.
Oh, it's an evil park.
Just because I like that idea of the backdrop.
Yeah. Something that can create a different look and would also give them more of a cover to go investigate.
Yeah. And, like, they're generally, like, these are all underage kids, so they wouldn't really have ever been here before, because, like, they get carded.
Yeah, so then
Nick's got a fake ID because he's cool.
It could be as simple as the Jill and Mickey basically are showing their ID, their worker ID, thing, and they're like, okay, yeah, if they're here for something specific, like they could say, oh, we're here to Like a make up some BS thing.
One way or another, they get the whole crew in, including Patricia and Bobby.
When they get in there, I think the first thing they should do is they should see the manager. I should make the comment on, does he ever sleep? You know, like maybe he's monitoring the plaza. He's like pacing the plaza in like a square. You know, like I think he would be in the functioning where the people are, so then they know that they can go back. But then maybe when they get back there, we see another. We could have the implication that there's another manager patrolling that area.
And he looks exactly the same. Oh, that's creepy. Okay, so that could kind of be your more present threat. Like he's like, you are not supposed to be back here, children. Come back here.
Oh, I like that. So it could be like, well, maybe they see him the first time and they're like, what? How did he get back here? I thought he was, and so they run, escape him, they get back to the front, and then they see the other one is still exactly where he was, and they're like, wait a minute. And then that would be when he comes out and maybe takes one of them.
Oh. So are we firmly in the part of the movie where we're staying at the park for most of it?
Yes. Now we're at the point where the park has become... Something has obviously triggered them to investigate this because obviously a death in the park is a big thing.
I feel like...
A death that is not being spoken about by anybody is a big thing.
A death that's been immediately covered up.
Yeah.
And they have no evidence. And maybe it doesn't have to be like a death so much as like a disappearance.
Yeah.
So maybe having a thing fly off of a roller coaster.
No, I think flying off the rails is actually going to be funny in the sense of, okay, obviously it's going to be serious in the sense of, well, this is like a big thing, but it's going to be in an area where it's not really going to be noticed.
And maybe like it flies off.
And once again, when Jill goes back to sea, nothing's there.
And maybe we don't even hear like how they explode when they hit the ground. Maybe we don't hear an explosion. So we did see it like fly off, and then nothing.
If we want to go real dark, we could have it where like we see these people before they get on the ride, and they're like, oh, joking and being cool. And then after, when the cart disappears, maybe we see these people again walking out from somewhere, and they're just brain dead.
Hmm. I like that.
They're just kind of zombies. Like, oh, wait, what happened?
I like that. I like that better because then Jill I feel like that would also pique Jill's curiosity. And that would still lead her to go investigate. And then she finds there's no crash site. There's nothing.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, and you could have the people be like, I am very happy. I am a little hungry.
Oh, I think that would be hilarious. That'd be perfect, though. Yeah.
Man, we love getting creepy with these game movies.
They start praising the park. Oh. That
I
could
see where you're going with it. Go ahead,
trap.
Bring it home for the lid.
They start praising the park, and so all of these rave reviews for the park. Like, the park is still really cool, yes, but like no one ever gives a bad review of the park.
I like that. Oh, that's creepy. Before we say we're in the park for the rest of the movie, I don't know. I love the idea in the classic like 80s, 90s ensemble kid movie where like they have the scene with the parents where it's like, Jill, you haven't finished your homework. We got a call from the teachers. And like, Mom, we're at the park. And they're like, there's nothing at the park, honey. You have the non-believer parents.
Yeah.
I just love that scene. I love those scenes in movies so much.
I hate them for the concept, but I think they helped move the story along. I hate the concept because, like I said, with the doubting friends, when you have doubting parents, it's like...
I feel like the kids don't necessarily doubt anymore once Jill kind of... Like, this can be later. This can be like 2/3 of the movie where we have that scene. We just have to remind the audience, I think part of the reason people like the ensemble films because it's like, these are normal kids. They still have to go to school even though they're having this adventure.
I like that. So maybe the first night when they investigate, they find... I could say this is going to be kind of a trope, but what if Bobby gets taken?
Bobby gets got?
Bobby gets got on the first night. And so they go back to school the next day, and Patricia's like really worried and really freaking out. She's like, I don't know. It's like, I told my parents that he's staying at a friend's house because I don't know what happened to him. We couldn't find him. And they're like, okay, well, we'll go back, and maybe he just got lost, kind of thing.
Maybe he gets lost as the manager is chasing them, or I guess the second manager, out of the abandoned section of the park.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining, they go back here in this abandoned section, and since it's at night, and this part of the section is closed anyway. I think off in the distance they'll see like the land like forming and morphing, and they're seeing pieces of rides start to assemble and stuff like that, to implying that the Tycoon is doing his dark magic.
Yeah, I like that.
And they go forward to investigate, and then they see the manager standing in an identical plaza in an identical spot, but he sees them and he's like, "Underage children, you should not be here."
Opens his mouth agape, grows wider, he screams.
My problem with Bobby getting taken, which could be fixed, is like they get out of the other side, they see Bobby's gone. Do you think they'd just leave?
We'd have to create a reason why they would have to leave. And it makes a good point, like why, what kind of good sibling just is like, yeah, I gotta go tell my parents that he's at a friend's or something. But it would have to be, they would have to see something that would push them even further, but also wrap it into the situation where maybe, it's going to sound weird, maybe they go back to that teacher and they're like, "What do you know about this part of the park?" And they're like, "Never saw that part of the park. When I worked there's all this." And maybe the teacher's like giving it really positive praise. Not in a way that...
Let me hit you up with this.
Okay, go ahead.
What if Bobby does come out? They all, the five of them come out. Patricia's really like sad, obviously. And she's like, "I gotta go get my brother back." And then Bobby emerges and he says, "I love this park."
Oh, so he's changed.
He's changed.
I think we should kind of imply, okay, then I'm going to backpedal on the intensity of the change a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if Bobby's going to change, I don't want poor Bobby being a zombie for the rest of the film. I think maybe...
maybe we can have that be like the second or third night that happens.
No, I think we can do it early on, but we showcase that maybe it affects them, but after a short period of time, the influence wears off, and they're like, huh? But they still, it was in their subconscious to say that it was good, so they're like, yeah, the park was good, wasn't it? Yeah, it was great. Was it? So they go from almost being hypnotized.
Yeah, or maybe it's just
to this
more subtle the entire time.
This subtle feeling that sticks with them. So Bobby goes back to normal minus this happiness he feels from the park. Yeah. And then we see that in the teacher.
And maybe Bobby just he brings up the park a lot, and like we have a scene with him and Patricia at school the next day, and he's like, "Patricia, when can we go back to the park?"
Yeah,
like he's always talking about this park, like, and that it can imply like a good part of the town is also kind of under this influence.
I like that because then we could see that early on without knowing what it is. When the teacher talks about how great it is, when
the people in the crash site come out, maybe they're not like, "I love this park. I am hungry." But they're talking to the park. They're like, "Wow, that was so much fun.
That was so fun." But still kind of in a NPC creepy way.
Right. But like they don't reference the crash site or the fact that they flew off a roller coaster or anything like that. Okay, yeah. And so maybe Patricia, we can have a scene with Patricia, Bobby, and their parents, and she's like, maybe that could be where the non-believing parents come in. With like, something's wrong with Bobby. And they're like, "Nothing's wrong with him, honey. He just loves going back. He loves going to that park."
Who
and
doesn't
I can't blame
love that park? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. That park is everything to this town.
I like that. And not so much that the parents are in a hypnotized state, but that they're just like, everybody loves it. Why is it's not?
Well, it could.
That's
you can
not
always
abnormal. Yeah.
You can always be questioning whether or not they are.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Because it's so subtle.
It's something that doesn't. I like that. That's even creepier, to be honest. Because imagine that.
Because it's like, does anyone actually like this, or are they all under the influence somehow?
Oh, that's weird. I like that a lot.
I do think we should have at least one character, and it can be the teacher, or maybe a different character who isn't under the influence, and maybe he knows a little bit about the park.
I think there should be another employee at the park.
But why would he stay so close, or she stay so close to the park?
What do kids do in the summer if they're not in an amusement park?
They go to that pool, baby.
Or they hang out in front of their friends' houses and wait for which vehicle?
The ice cream machine.
Machine. What if there's an ice cream man and we can...
But it's not summer, though, because they're in school.
It could be... That no,
sorry.
that actually no. I like this. I like that. It not being summer makes it better. Here's this ice cream man.
Because in the dead of winter.
Well, in like fall, and that could be referenced too. He seems crazy. That could be his whole ploy. Is he seems psychotic? He's paranoid.
Okay,
but that's because of the park. And he does this kind of in spite of the park. And so that could be something that, like, you know, he shows up. Maybe they're, you know, all kids are hanging out. They've got their bikes and they're on the road. And the ice cream truck comes up. And we establish him early enough on where they're like, oh, this is the crazy ice cream man. You know? But he's friendly. He's
Crazy Ice Ivan.
Yeah, he's friendly. And he seems really paranoid. But he's not. He's never a threat. He's never like a creepy character. At least not in the sense of ominously.
Just kind of off.
Yeah. I like that. I like the idea of him being an ice cream man running during fall and winter.
I like that. That's very strange.
He's very off already. And so it would kind of create this juxtaposition early on to say like, oh, is the town creepy? Like, what's with this? Yeah.
What if he was the one? He was one who was brainwashed, but he somehow shook it.
Maybe it would be because if we go the route where we make him kind of a paranoid conspiracy theorist, then what would pretty much happen is he could be like, oh, it didn't work on me. You know, I see what is happening to everybody else, but it's not happening to me. I think instead we could do more of a thing where maybe he does something. It sounds too convenient, but I think something related to his ice cream truck is what should keep him
sane?
Unaffected. No, he's not sane. He's just not affected by the park.
My idea was, what if he was always kind of crazy?
Okay.
And then, you know, he's like, he tells them the story, you know, maybe you got a flashback. One day I was at the park with my wife and kids, and I had my favorite baseball cap in. It was lined with tinfoil.
Yeah, we had little...
So the aliens couldn't get me.
Right, little edges of, oh, you crazy kook.
Right, but then, you know, it's like, it fell off the rails, and we crashed. And then nobody remembered what was happening. And they tried to get everyone, but they didn't get me.
I like the idea of him being a witness to this and because it's something that is been now seen by Jill, it does stand out to her.
Right. Because although I think maybe he should have a conversation with the kids like over halfway through the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like really,
he'll have one
breaks
early
out the
on
history.
where we see this disdain for the park, and maybe that could set up like, man, why does this guy of all people dislike the park? You know, like he doesn't seem like that helps anybody. You know.
Yeah, or they like find records of everyone who's been brainwashed. Or I don't. Probably maybe that's a little too convenient.
No, I don't think it would be that. I think he's going to be the one who's going to claim that, but he's going to claim it after Jill has seen what has happened, so it's actually believable at that point.
Well, maybe he's always like...
Because if for example, after they see it, they're going to have points where they go back home or go back to school or whatever. So they're going to meet Mr. Ice Cream Man again, you know.
Maybe at the beginning of the movie, Mikey and Patricia, you know, they're going on a little date. They're holding hands. They get ice cream from Crazy Ice Ivan. And, you know, he's like, all right, kids, now don't go to that park. And they're like, yeah, all right, Crazy Ice Ivan.
Yeah, I like that.
And then, like, later on, you know, they just see Ivan in the back doing his thing a couple times. And then it's just like, why does he always say that? So they go ask him.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's like, oh, you've seen some things, have you?
I like that.
All right, so let's get back on track on the story a little bit. We got a lot of good elements. So
I'd say they go there, instead of a kid getting got, they just start to see more and more. I think there should be the final thing where one time they go, I think they should go during the daytime.
Okay.
And they get stuck under, like, I know it's kind of a weird, but I like the idea of underneath the park, there is another park.
I'm fine with that.
Where it's
can you do that in the games?
Yes, you can. You actually can. You can build on top of stuff that you've done. And
okay, sure. Yeah.
Not to reference this, but it's a speedrunning strategy. Or a space conserving strategy. I like the idea of it not for that joke. I like the idea of it as in this park is always constructing.
No, yeah, I like that.
Like it
too.
never stops. And the fact
that it never
the park
destroys either.
Right. I like that idea too, because you gotta think about it. If you played the game as a kid, you just put down whatever. you didn't go ever click on that bulldozer tool and clean up. You just were like, build.
I think throughout the movie, we should build up this enigmatic Tycoon figure and then have kind of a Wizard of Oz situation where they go in and it's just this old guy with
and he's hooked up and he can't.
Yeah, his soul's getting seeped out of him.
I like that. I like that a lot because you could have this point where maybe they're like, he's doing something wrong, and they're like, he's the one behind this, and then they go up and they find out it's the park.
The evil park.
That'd be the goosebumps moment,
Yeah, so all right, so they go back the first night. They see the land shifting. They get chased by the manager. Bobby goes missing for a couple seconds, comes out, he's a little different. They go back to school, kind of talk it over, say something weird's going on. We got to go back. They go back 2 or 3 times. Eventually they get stuck. I think the third night, that's when they go underground.
Okay, I like that.
The second night, maybe they can see some more weird stuff. Whatever. Third night, they go underground. They see people.
They are still brainwashed down there. The influence of the park is still strongly affecting them. And maybe it's even more strongly affecting them because of where they are. So they're, instead of being, like we said, I don't like this place. I hate this place. I have to go to the bathroom. Maybe they're just completely rattled. Like, they look terrible. The guy's got a beard. He's been living down there for who knows how long. And he's like, what a nice park. And that's where the real NPC...
So they're fully gone.
Yep.
I like it.
Well, we could imply later that they get help or something. But at that point, they're not human anymore. They are NPCs.
And maybe there's like a hamburger stand down there, and that's how they're getting food.
And then in the hamburger stand is one of the managers.
Oh, that's creepy. Oh, I just got actual chills.
I really love this idea of these manager figures looking like the NPCs, because man, those faces look creepy in the little...
He's really, yeah, just like he looks like a normal guy, but there's something off.
Right. And maybe at first glance, you just think of him as kind of a creep. But then as things go on, you're like, he's not human. There's no way he's human,
Should we, at some point, have like one of the characters get lifted up like NPCs get lifted up in the game?
I think the underneath of the park will add a lot for that. I think there can be like a whole crane system at the top.
Okay, yeah.
And it could do that. It could be like the manager when all the people are out there, people come up to the kids are scared and they're looking up, and the NPC brainwashed people are like, this is such a nice park. Food here is great. And they're like, yeah, and they're all in continuation of this, and they're moving around, and the manager looks over and he's just kind of looking normally, but you can tell he's like angry. And that's when maybe like you start hearing things like, what's going on, and then across the top you see like this this huge like crane system.
So you're
moving.
saying it should be like an actual crane that picks people up?
Yeah, it's going to be like an actual machine that picks them up, because
cool.
Yeah, it's not going to be so supernatural that it's like, woo, magic.
Yeah,
but
I was thinking just like they just start flying.
No, I think it'd be better because then it shows kind of the mechanical terror that this park is building itself, and because it can build itself, it can create these things. I think it should take them to the Tycoon, or at least they think that's where it's taking them initially.
I don't know if I like that.
Okay.
I think they should come to the Tycoon on their own volition.
Well, I think somebody should get taken to the Tycoon.
I know you want Bobby to get taken. You really got it out for Bobby.
Maybe Nick could get taken.
What about I don't even remember her name, the Earthly girl.
I think she could get taken. I think she could get taken almost like in a sacrificial way. So like the crane's coming down for them, and she like pushes them away, and you see her good intention, of course, and she gets picked up and taken. They're like, we gotta go after her, and they're like, they don't see where the crane takes her because it's all dark and spooky and everything, and the screen, not her scream, but her yells echo. It's like we can't tell where she is.
Okay, what if it was the crazy Ice Ivan's tinfoil that saved them? So what if they have like a safety hat? And like as she gets taken, she like puts the hat on just to be safe. And then you can have like an interrogation scene.
I think that would be believable in the sense that since she's a little more spiritual, she could easily have something like that,
Yeah, and we obviously preface she has it ahead of time. And then like, the manager is almost interrogating her. and like she's not succumbing to and you know, he's very confused in a kind of alien way. And yeah, I think they go back to they could spend a pretty good chunk of time down underground. And I think once what's her face? Let's just call her Abigail because I forgot what we named her. Once she gets taken, I think that's like your end of Act 2, like your darkest moment. You know, one of the teams has been taken.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think
they're also stuck down in this.
Well, I think they should get out and like kind of head home because they're like, well, I don't know what else to do. How do we rescue her? And then, you know, you have the parents like, all right, you're grounded. You can't do that. And, you know, you got to sneak out in classic fashion. You sneak out, meet up. We got to go rescue her.
We got to have a reason for Abigail's parents to not completely flip a lid and go out after. I think if we make her parents full on hippies.
I was just going to say they're out of town.
Okay, they can be out of town. I'm better with out of town now, but I was thinking in my
Maybe
if they were like the full on hippies and they're like, oh, she's finally decided to go her own way. You know, just this, you know.
They could be like long-term out of town. Like they're taking an RV trip or something. So we gotta they are hippies, but they're also out of town. And it can be played up as a joke in the beginning, but then,
yeah, it could be like, it's like, man, you know, I wish my parents were that cool. They go do stuff like that. Right. And then it's like, that's actually a bad thing. Cause
that's not good. Yeah. So I think, you know.
Okay, so they get all grounded. They all have to escape.
What happens to Bobby? Oh, no, Bobby's Patricia's brother. Never mind.
Yeah, Bobby's grounded too, of course.
I think at least Jill should be grounded. Jill and Mikey. Since they're kind of the main characters.
I think we should yeah.
Because I feel like it'd be weird if they all got grounded.
Well, not all, but I think maybe Patricia and Nick, in their own ways, should kind of give up.
Yeah.
Jill
Nick
and
Nick
Mickey
gets
are
scared,
forced.
And Patricia's like,
Mikey.
This is too dangerous for my brother.
Yeah, and
Bobby has dog brain, so he
No.
anything.
You gotta follow me on this one.
All right, I'm ready. Take me downtown, brother.
So, we have the scene where they get back, and for Jill and Mikey, they get grounded because, you know, where were you? What were you doing? You know,
we've been worried. Do you know what time it is?
Yeah,
you know,
that whole thing. They get grounded. They say, you know, you don't work tomorrow. You're staying home. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to that park. You're not going blah. You know, because it'd be like
you're not gonna hang out with your friends,
right? You're staying home, and it's not even in the sense of like such a harsh punishment. Just like that's, you know, you did something bad. Here's the consequence.
You got to do some chores or something.
Right. We see Nick in full scared is just like, nope, not doing this anymore. Not going to do this at all. Blah blah blah.
I'm out.
He has his moment. His
right.
Coward. He becomes a coward for a little.
Yeah.
He's always been a coward, but he's been hiding it. And then we see Patricia take a step back and say, this is too dangerous for Bobby. I'm not going to let, you know, this happen. I can't let this do this. We're not doing it anymore.
And then it takes Jill and Mikey to like reunite everybody.
It takes Bobby. It takes Bobby coming to them and prodding them to say, we gotta go do this. Because Bobby is starting, he's still a little dog brained, but he knows
less dog brained.
What?
Less dog brained.
He's less dog brained. We see that it's wearing off. I think that would also be a good showcase
I'm good with that.
Because we showcase, not like he hates the park or anything, but he knew that something bad happened. He saw Abigail get taken, so he's like, we have to go get her back. Maybe a great place, but my mama says no one can live at a theme park. You know, like just something stupid. You know.
Well, yeah, maybe he could be almost like maybe once Bobby is kind of in this trance, he doesn't really go on adventures with him.
Yeah, but he comes back.
We could show that Patricia's like worrying about him, and it's like taking a toll on her health.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I just got to stay with him. And then, you know, she's like recapping it to Bobby. And then you see Bobby kind of wake up a little bit.
I like that.
And have that moment.
Yeah, so he
Bobby's
comes
back.
Prods them. They get up. They get Patricia, because of course Bobby's going. You got to have Patricia to take care of
Gotta have Bobby.
And then, Bobby's already made up his mind. He wants to go back to that park.
Bobby's going regardless.
And then we got Nick. I think Nick's going to have a very cheesy, very quick, you know, moment where he's scared, but then they say, come on, you know, and it could be Mikey saying, you know, it's like, You know you're the tough guy. You always pick on me, and you can do this. You're really cool and all this, And he stands up, looks in the mirror, takes out his comb. I'm
Slicks
Nick.
the hair.
You know what it is.
And how do they all get there? That's right. Crazy Ice Ivan's truck.
Because that's what you put on an ice cream truck.
I mean, we could.
I think it should be the ice cream theme.
If you want to go full circle.
I think it would be... I think they go back to him, and they're like, okay... Now we believe you 100%. And he's like,
maybe he knows where the Tycoon is, and he's like,
that
all
would
right,
be it.
He's like,
yeah, if you've got to see, you've got to meet the Tycoon.
If you got to rescue your friend, you got to
to kill the snake, you got to cut off its head.
All right, yeah. So he kind of, yeah.
He takes him there. I think he takes him there. He busts in somewhere. He's got busted.
I think the party's still going hot.
Okay, so they're unaffected.
Well, yeah.
Should Crazy Ivan join them, or should he just be their transport there and the information giver?
I think he could. That's his redemption arc, where it's like he was afraid.
Now he's gonna go in, and
now he's like he has a cause.
I like that
to stand behind,
and he can actually be seen in his eyes. He can be seen more as a hero and not just a crazy person.
Right. Well,
he's still a crazy person.
Yeah.
That's
the important part.
So they go, and they get to the Tycoon.
Well, I think he should have aren't there buildings, like administrative buildings in the game you can build?
Not.
Or is it all
not
kind
really?
of?
You just do whatever. But we can
Maybe I was thinking of Zoo Tycoon.
We can easily set up some kind of tower or something.
Yeah.
That would be
just way out there.
Right, and it would make sense because it would be overseeing the entire thing, And so it'd be it's this guy who lives up in this thing, and they think it's this lavish life, but they get inside the building, and as they start climbing it, it's just mechanical. It's bare wires, and everything is just...
And it's very empty.
Very empty, but it's pristine, it's clean, but it's just bare.
Yeah, there's no life to it.
Yep. And they find the husk of a man still running.
So are we still... I know a lot's changed. Should we still have someone sacrifice themselves?
I don't know if someone should sacrifice themselves. I think
what we could do is
What reason would they have to sacrifice themselves? Maybe it'd be there's no way... Oh, this would be really weird.
Bobby goes in.
No. What if...
Crazy Ice Ivan.
Yeah. Here's what it is. Maybe they go up to the Tycoon. They start talking with him. He's still alive enough. And he starts talking back. And he's like, this whole system. And he explains kind of what's happening a little bit. And he's like, this whole system is controlling. I don't have any power. He says, but if someone, of strong will, they could maybe pull her out, bring her back, before the machine takes over. You can imply that maybe there's some control at first,
We're still having someone has to be in the chair.
Yeah.
I think maybe the kids are thinking why don't we just take him out of the chair, just kill the park? And he's like, no, there has to be someone in the chair. And Crazy Ice Ivan steps up and he says, I'll do it. Hey, damn it, I'm crazy enough for anything.
I lost everything. I got nothing left to lose.
There's too many craters in the moon.
Something stupid.
What does that mean?
I think we should make there's a bigger threat. If somebody's not in the chair, what happens? The park goes crazy? The park completely just starts killing people?
I literally don't think there can not be someone in there.
I think we should give it a bit more of a risk, because that's a very abstract concept. I get it, and I like it, because it's very artistic, but it's not not something that the audience is going to grasp, because they'll be like, what do you mean somebody can't be in the chair? It's like if you tell somebody, it's like, oh, God was there before the beginning of time. They're like, that's impossible, because who created him? Who created time? So if you just say that somebody has to be in the chair, it's like, well, do they though?
I mean, you could make it be, you could still say that while being if this park shuts down, the town dies, basically. Because this is all the town has.
Okay. Let's extend that. Let's mix both of those ideas.
So it's a little less.
Let's say
you have a less.
The town needs the park, so they can't just destroy the park. But if they do not have somebody sitting in the chair, the park will kind of destroy itself.
Yeah, it'll deteriorate.
Yeah. Well, not even that. I think we could go as far as to say the supernatural entity of the park will not have any energy to siphon, And so it'll just kind of become this horrific,
it'll like
become a destructive force, not a constructive force.
It'll implode.
Or it'll start doing more of what we saw with the people trapped. You know, it'll be like people getting cut off and drowned, and people get... When they return to Ivan before they go in, Ivan brings up, he says, no, nobody else remembers this. Nobody else brings this up. But there was one point when the park, it was like 50 years ago or something, there was one news outlet that reported that some major accident happened at the park and a bunch of people went missing or died or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we could line that up with when the new Tycoon came in. So basically, it was like there was a point where maybe there wasn't somebody in the chair for a short time, and that's what happened. Is some horrific thing happened. And so we get to actually see that threat without seeing it immediately. It just showcases that somebody has to be in the chair.
You build it up a little bit.
Yeah. And then since maybe that would give Ivan more reason to actually sacrifice himself, because maybe he would actually know. He has his moment of sanity amongst his terrible colloquialisms. His moment of sanity where he knows what could happen, not only to the town, but to anybody who's in the park. You know, if there's somebody not there to protect it. Because even though the park itself kind of brainwashes people to think it's amazing, it still protects the people. So if a ride malfunctions, the people are safe.
Yeah, all right.
Because we already showcased that the people don't die, you know.
I don't know if safe would be the right word, because it was keeping people in literal captivity.
Yes, but we can also imply that maybe that's because of the guy in his old age. Things are not as they should be.
All right, yeah, we could give some reason.
Right. I kind of like the idea of it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's definitely creepy, and it should not be a normal thing. But
I feel like it's just like a force of nature.
Right. It's viewed like that by anybody who knows really what it is. And we could even see that, this is going to sound really weird, we could even have that where it's like the creepy staff manager people, you know, they are not necessarily evil, but they, being a part of the park, whatever energy the park is being given, or chaos, they represent that. So down there where the park has been abandoned and discarded and you know, trapped, they're more kind of creaky and almost animatronic-like and scarier, you know.
I like that, yeah.
The one above, they look the exact same, but the one on the surface is more just like creepy manager guy who walks around like a robot and just like talks, you know, weird.
Just less unsettling, but less scary.
Right. As when you get down there, it's the same face, but it's just 10 times creepier.
So Crazy Ivan takes control of the park, huh? What happens to the old dude?
I think he should, or I'm going to put die in quotes. His life as the life force of the park is over. He could have kind of almost a Theoden moment where he gets unplugged and a little bit, you know, he gets a little younger, just a little bit, you know.
So okay, and then I feel like we just kind of wrap it up from there. You know, you see the kids.
I think we
should they still
wrap it
like
up in the same way that a horror movie would be wrapped up, but with a lighter tone. So things are good
because things are better,
but there's still like they go back and they're like, how do we even begin to explain this to people? It's like, we don't. We just let the town live. We just let the town have this. And we make sure, you know, it's like maybe we need to make sure that this is kept the way it is.
I'd say it's more Goosebumps than like traditional horror.
But I think I like that a lot more.
It fits the amusement park.
It fits the amusement. It also fits the game style. The game style is it's not realistic. It's not, you know, hyper anything. And it's not even super cartoony either. It's just slightly surreal.
I don't know. I like it. I think it fits. And this is obviously live action. And we didn't talk about
live
that.
action for sure.
So that is the Rollercoaster Tycoon movie.
Woo!
How's you on that roller coaster? Never once did our characters ride a roller coaster.
Well, we could say Patricia and Bobby did, or, you know, who knows?
They all rode a roller coaster at least once.
Somebody did somewhere
in the movie. We had to,
except for Ivan.
You know, there's this weird thing with these movies like Rollercoaster Tycoon or Space Invaders or Civilization, the more abstract ones.
Yeah.
Like before, I have no idea what direction we're gonna go in. and then after, I can't see any other possible direction we could have gone.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
If you enjoyed the show, or if you have any friends who enjoy the show, please share it with them. The show is on Spotify. It's on iTunes. Pretty much wherever you can find a podcast, YouTube as well. That helps us grow in the most direct way possible. So please share it. Get the word out about it.
And if you want the one-stop shop for all of those links, you go to our website, which is www.speculativereelism, that's realism with 2 E's, like a film reel.com.
Yeah, and on our website is a link to our Patreon, where you can, support the show in a little more financial of a way. We also have some fun member benefits, stuff like that. We're not going to tell you. It's a secret. You got to go check it out.
Come on, go check it out.
But we obviously appreciate everyone helping us out on there.
And if you've got an idea for a game that we could do, or a specific type of movie, say you want us to say, y'all did a really good Pokemon movie, but you know what? Try and do a Pokemon movie based with, I don't know, a thriller, a psychological thriller.
Sure. That'd be interesting.
Send us those ideas. You can find our email on the site.
Or if you're like, if you man, I had this Elite Beat Agent movie idea, and just shoot it to us, write us out. We could definitely look it over and turn it into a little bit more of a fleshed out idea. We'd love to do stuff like that.
Yes. Follow us on our social media as well. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
You got all three. Well, we are pulling out of the station for now. Choo choo.
Bye.